What if I told you that long-term success has less to do with talent, luck, or intelligence, and everything to do with one mental attitude? The difference between people who quit halfway and those who succeed for decades is not motivation, but mindset. Motivation fades, circumstances change, but the right mental attitude keeps you moving forward when progress is slow, when results are invisible, and when others give up. If you're tired of starting strong and finishing nowhere, this message is for you. Watch until the end because the final lesson might completely change how you approach your goals. Lesson 1. Adopt a long-term vision. The fundamental difference between those who build lasting empires and those who flame out in a burst of temporary brilliance lies in their relationship with time. To adopt a long-term vision is to shift your entire cognitive framework from the immediate gratification of the now to the compounding power of the later. In a world designed to hijack our attention with notifications, trends, and overnight success stories, thinking in decades feels like a revolutionary act. When you widen your lens, you begin to see that most of what we call luck is actually the result of positioning oneself over a long enough horizon that success becomes statistically probable. It is the realization that a single year of intense effort might yield visible change, but 10 years of consistent direction creates a life that is unrecognizable to your former self. One of the most profound benefits of long-term thinking is the psychological immunity it provides against the inevitable volatility of life. When your goal is situated 5 or 10 years in the future, a bad week or a stagnant month loses its power to crush your spirit. You begin to view these fluctuations as noise rather than signal. Short-term thinkers are constantly recalibrating their identity based on their most recent win or loss, leading to an emotional roller coaster that eventually causes burnout. Conversely, the long-term visionary understands the principle of exponential growth. The most significant gains are backloaded. Just as a bamboo tree spends years developing an extensive root system underground before shooting up 90 feet in a few weeks, your early years are about building the invisible infrastructure of character and competence. Furthermore, a long-term vision allows for the construction of systems rather than just the pursuit of goals. Goals have an expiration date. Once you reach them, the motivation often evaporates. Systems, however, are designed to run indefinitely. By focusing on the system, the daily reading, the consistent networking, the disciplined saving, you ensure that you are moving toward a trajectory of excellence rather than a singular destination. This perspective encourages you to make asymmetric bets, actions that have a limited downside but an unlimited upside over time. Whether it is learning a high-value skill or investing in a relationship, these seeds require a long-term horizon to bear fruit. In the end, the person who can stay in the game the longest usually wins, not because they were the fastest, but because they refused to be distracted by the finish lines of others. Lesson 2. Fall in love with the process. The obsession with the finish line is perhaps the greatest trap of the modern era. We are taught to crave the trophy, the promotion, or the public accolade, but we are rarely taught to cherish the mundane Tuesday afternoons spent doing the work. To fall in love with the process is to detach your happiness from the outcome and anchor it in the action itself. This is not just a motivational sentiment. It is a practical strategy for endurance. If your satisfaction only comes when the project is finished, you will spend 99% of your life in a state of not yet, waiting for a fleeting moment of joy that disappears the moment the next goal is set. When you embrace the process, you find fulfillment in the craft, turning the journey into the reward. When you prioritize the process, success transitions from being a stressful uncertainty to an inevitable byproduct of your lifestyle. Think of an elite athlete. They do not spend every waking moment staring at the scoreboard. They spend their time perfecting the mechanics of their swing or the rhythm of their stride. They trust that if the mechanics are sound, the score will take care of itself. This mental shift reduces performance anxiety significantly. Instead of worrying about whether a venture will succeed, you focus on whether your input today was of high quality. By mastering the micro wins of the daily routine, you accumulate a mountain of progress that eventually becomes impossible for the world to ignore. Moreover, loving the process fosters a growth mindset that welcomes complexity and challenge. If you only care about the result, you will naturally gravitate toward the easiest path to get there, which often stunts your development. But if you value the process, you seek out the deliberate practice, the tasks that are just at the edge of your current ability. You begin to find a strange sort of peace in the grind, the repetition, and the refinement. This is where true mastery lives. It is the difference between a writer who only wants to have written a book and a writer who actually loves the act of putting words on a page. The former will struggle through every chapter, while the latter will find a lifetime of meaning in the sentences themselves. Lesson 3. Develop resilience over motivation. Motivation is a fickle friend. It is an emotional state triggered by novelty, external praise, or a sudden burst of inspiration. Relying on it to achieve long-term goals is like trying to cross an ocean in a sailboat that only moves when there is a hurricane. Resilience, on the other hand, is the engine of a steamship. It carries you forward regardless of the weather. Resilience is the cultivated ability to endure discomfort, boredom, and fatigue without losing sight of the mission. It is the understanding that the dip, the period where the initial excitement has worn off but the results haven't appeared yet, is the exact place where the competition quits. Choosing resilience means deciding ahead of time that your actions are not up for debate based on how you feel when you wake up. Building resilience requires a fundamental reclassification of stress. Instead of seeing stress as a sign to stop, a resilient person sees it as a signal for growth. This is the concept of anti-fragility, not just being robust enough to withstand a blow, but actually getting stronger because of it. To develop this, one must engage in voluntary hardship. By pushing yourself physically, mentally, or professionally in controlled ways, you expand your threshold for pain and uncertainty. You learn that "I can't" is usually a feeling, not a fact. When you stop being afraid of being tired or frustrated, you gain a superpower, the ability to outlast everyone else who is waiting for the perfect mood to strike. Resilience also involves a tactical level of mental preparation. Successful individuals often practice pre-mortems or negative visualization, where they anticipate what could go wrong and decide their response in advance. By doing this, they remove the element of surprise that usually breaks people's motivation. When the obstacle appears, it isn't a catastrophe. It's a planned-for event. This Stoic approach ensures that your energy is spent on problem-solving rather than emotional reacting. Over time, this builds a deep, quiet confidence. You no longer need to get pumped up by a speech or a video because you have a proven track record of showing up when it was hard, which is the only true source of self-belief. Lesson 4. Embrace failure as feedback. In the traditional schooling system, failure is a scarlet letter, a final grade that dictates your worth. In the school of long-term success, however, failure is merely a data point. To embrace failure as feedback is to remove the ego from the equation and look at your mistakes with the clinical eye of a scientist. Every time a project fails or a pitch is rejected, the universe is giving you specific information about what doesn't work. If you treat this as a personal indictment, you will become paralyzed by fear. But if you treat it as a free lesson, you become an unstoppable learning machine. The faster you are willing to fail, the faster you can iterate toward the solution. The shift from "why me" to "what is this teaching me" is the most powerful cognitive reframe a human can undergo. The first question leads to a victim mentality where you are a passive observer of your own misfortune. The second question restores your agency, turning you into an active problem solver. This perspective allows you to extract value from even the most painful situations. Often, the failure that felt like the end of the world was actually a necessary pivot that led to a much greater opportunity. By maintaining this curiosity, you ensure that no experience is ever truly wasted. You aren't losing, you are just paying tuition to the University of Life. Furthermore, a high tolerance for failure is a prerequisite for innovation. If you are only willing to do things you are already good at, you will never expand your boundaries. True growth happens in the failure zone, where you are attempting things that have a high probability of not working. When you stop fearing the sting of a mistake, you become more courageous in your decision-making. You take the risks that others avoid, and because you aren't devastated by small losses, you stay in the game long enough to hit the big wins. Remember that a professional baseball player who fails 7 out of 10 times is considered a legend. Success is not the absence of failure, it is the mastery of it. Lesson 5. Maintain discipline, not perfection. Perfectionism is often a mask for insecurity. It is a defense mechanism that prevents us from putting our work into the world, because if it isn't perfect, it can't be judged. This all-or-nothing thinking is the enemy of progress. If you believe you must do everything perfectly, you will inevitably quit the moment you slip up. Discipline, however, is the commitment to the average. It is the understanding that a 50% effort on a day when you feel terrible is infinitely better than a 0% effort. Discipline is about the unbroken chain of showing up. It values the B- work that gets finished over the A+ work that never leaves your head. The danger of perfectionism is that it leads to cycles of intense activity followed by total collapse, the burn and crash phenomenon. You might work 20 hours a day for a week fueled by the ideal of perfection, only to find yourself unable to work at all for the next month. Discipline favors a sustainable pace. It's the turtle's strategy in a world of hares. By setting a floor for your daily actions, a minimum amount of work you do regardless of circumstances, you ensure that you never lose momentum. Momentum is the most precious commodity in any long-term endeavor. It is much easier to steer a moving vehicle than to push a stationary one from a dead stop. In the long run, consistency always beats intensity. A person who exercises for 30 minutes every single day for 5 years will be in far better shape than someone who spends 3 months training like an Olympian and then quits for a year. Discipline is the quiet habit of doing the small things that don't seem to matter in the moment, but create a massive delta over time. It is the boring work, the repetitive tasks, and the daily choices that define who you become. By letting go of the need to be perfect, you give yourself the permission to be human, and paradoxically, that is exactly what allows you to achieve superhuman results. Long-term success is not guaranteed by talent, speed, or shortcuts. It's guaranteed by a mental attitude rooted in patience, resilience, and discipline. Change how you think, and you change how far you go. If this message resonated with you, remember, success isn't built in a moment, it's built every day. Stay consistent, stay focused, and most importantly, stay in the game.